former Medtronic Chairman and CEO, Art Collins.
You know, few people are recognizable by a single name. For example, there are entertainers Cher, Madonna, and Sting. There's NBA superstars LeBron and Magic, and the great Brazilian soccer player Pelé. And then there is Earl. Yes, in addition to founding Medtronic, Earl will go down in history as a bona fide legend in the medical technology industry. He was also a visionary leader, a very generous philanthropist, and a truly unique human being who directly or indirectly touched tens of millions of lives around the world. I first met Earl in March 1992 as one of the last steps in my hiring process. During the hour-long interview that followed, Earl spent the first 50 minutes talking about Medtronic's mission, how it came to be, and why it was so important. During the last 10 minutes, he really laid a story of how he just showed his disdain for corporate bureaucracy by arriving at a Medtronic management meeting in Minnesota, Wisconsin, with a large binder of corporate policies chained to his leg. When he removed the binder and threw it into a roaring fireplace, the room exploded with laughter and sustained applause. Then Earl told me that all the Medtronic lore about him writing down a 100-year plan on a sheet of paper really wasn't true. With a twinkle in his eye, he said it was only a 50-year plan. When I finally asked if he had any questions of me, he simply said, "No, I'm sure you'll do just fine if you believe in and live the mission." He was right. Over the 15-plus years that I served as Medtronic's President and Chief Operating Officer, or Chairman and Chief Executive Officer, I had the honor to work with Earl. Most often when we together conducted mission medallion ceremonies at Medtronic locations around the world, or on his beloved Big Island of Hawaii. I always enjoyed the time we spent together, and I continually valued his counsel. Earl also had a unique capability that few founders display. He recognized what he was good at, and when it was time for him to step aside and let someone else run the day-to-day operations of Medtronic. Even though he gave up his chairman and CEO title, he remained a quiet leader who never really left the company. Whether as a board member or simply in his founder role, Earl's presence was always felt and appreciated by employees, physicians, and the patients we all served. As many of you know, Earl loved to meet with patients, whenever and wherever he could. What some of you may not know, that when Earl was a young man, he was painfully shy. Well, he overcame his shyness and ultimately turned out to be a quite outgoing and very effective public speaker. In fact, many times, he was truly unabashed in saying whatever came to his mind. You know that. One of the strangest vignettes that I personally witnessed in this regard took place at a formal luncheon with Chinese doctors and government officials during a Medtronic board trip to Hong Kong in the mid-1990s. I was seated next to Earl when the subject of traditional Chinese medicine came up just as the soup course was being served. Earl, who received acupuncture on a routine basis, proceeded to unbutton his Hawaiian shirt, and then, sitting bare-chested, without the least bit of self-consciousness or embarrassment, he proceeded to point to each of the red spots where earlier that morning an acupuncturist had placed needles explaining how the nerves in each location were connected to other parts of his body. Jaws dropped, and everyone sat in silence until a somewhat aghast female doctor at the other end of the table asked Earl what he thought about the political climate in Hong Kong. Earl calmly rebuttoned his shirt, took his first spoonful of egg drop soup, and simply said, "Oh, I don't get involved in Chinese politics." You've already heard from Omar about the importance that the Medtronic mission statement has made on the company over the years and how it's contributed to the tremendous success. Well, when Earl wrote the opening words to the mission statement, which are to contribute to human welfare, he just as well could have been writing the opening words of his obituary. Whether as a young engineer in his garage repairing medical equipment, or as the inventor of pacemaker technology that would revolutionize the treatment of many cardiac disorders, or as the larger-than-life benefactor of the North Hawaii Community Hospital, Earl, throughout his life, contributed to human welfare. Yes, Earl was a remarkable leader and an extraordinary human being, and I, like so many others, will miss him. However, I also take comfort in the fact that Earl lived as full and as meaningful a life as anyone I have ever known. And even though he has left this life, his spirit and his mission live on in many places, many ways, touching and inspiring so many people. Aloha, Earl.